So there have been many psychotic speakers at the RNC. It's kind of their thing. But I think these two lines may be my favorite because of how insane they are. So one of these guys, this is Matt Gaetz, who you're going to hear, and then there's one other speaker, I don't know her name, but she was particularly unhinged. Take a look.
About 5 years ago, I was the victim of a notoriously deadly medical error. I survived, but only to be diagnosed with a rare and terminal bone cancer. You know, the Democrats love to talk about healthcare being a human right. But a right to what? Well, I'll tell you. To them, it's a right to marijuana, opioids, and the right to die with dignity.
The Woketopians will settle for Biden because they will make him an extra in a movie written, produced, and directed by others. It's a horror film, really. They'll disarm you, empty the prisons, lock you in your home, and invite MS-13 to live next door.
I don't know what world these people live in. I don't know what world they live in. They're so, everything, that's so insane, everything they said. So let's go from the beginning. So she says, I was the victim of a medical error. I had a rare kind of bone cancer. Then she says, the left believes that healthcare is a human right. Correct. Proceed. A right to what? A right to weed, opioids, and dying with dignity? I don't, what does any of that mean? Okay, so do I think healthcare is a human right? Yes. Every other developed country has it as a right. I think we should catch up to the rest of the developed world, and their systems are empirically better according to every study. So correct, I think healthcare is a human right. Do I think you have a right to marijuana? No. I think it should be legal, and if you want to go to the store and buy some marijuana, then yes, of course, you should be able to go to the store and buy marijuana. Do I think marijuana is a right, as in, like, you should get it for free as part of being an American citizen and being born? No, I don't think it's a right. I just think you should be able to buy it at the store if you want to buy it at the store. Then she says they believe you have a right to die with dignity. So do I believe in death with dignity as in physician-assisted suicide, as in somebody's got late-stage cancer and they're in excruciating pain and they want to die peacefully, so they choose to do physician-assisted suicide? Yeah, I'm in favor of that. But I don't think she's talking about it in that sense. I think what she's trying to say is, oh, they believe in healthcare as a right, but the healthcare system wouldn't help you. You would end up dying because the healthcare system doesn't fix you in time. Like, I think that's what she's getting at. You gotta understand, I'm like the idiot whisperer on this show because I've been listening to dumb people say dumb things for a very long time in all these clips. I'm pretty sure that's what she means. And it harkens back to, like, one of the BS arguments that conservatives make all the time, which is like, bro, they got wait lists. They got long wait times in single-payer countries, bro. Do you know about that? And, like, they act like we don't have 45,000 to 60,000 Americans that die every year because they don't have basic health care. Not only do we have wait lines, our wait lines are littered with about 60,000 dead bodies of people who didn't get their care. And they get mad that in single-payer countries, you have to wait for some elective procedures. So the ones that are not immediately necessary, you might have to wait for. Wow. That's only totally and completely understandable. So they ration care by need over there. We ration care by the size of your wallet. If you're wealthy, you'll get the care and you'll get it quick. If you're poor, maybe not so much. So I think that's what she's getting at. But, Jesus Christ. This stuff is insane, man. It's so insane. Like, imagine bashing the idea of healthcare as a human right in the year 2020 when every other developed country has healthcare as a human right, and they save money, and they cover everybody, and the outcomes are even better. It's just like, it's like they're proud of their deep ignorance. Proud of it. But somehow she took the issue of universal healthcare, made fun of it, but also linked it to weed and opioids? I don't, like, what are you saying? This is what happens when you're too drunk on One American News and you're too drunk on Fox News. You can't help yourself. you're so deep in the bubble, you think everybody else is seeing the issues in the same way you do, but nobody's seeing it the way you do. Only people who are like that 25% of the country, that block that's so right-wing that they're already voting for Trump anyway, and what's the point of going after them in your convention? Okay, then, so Matt Gaetz, I mean, listen, this is such a perfect example of like when right-wingers think they're being like cool and edgy, but actually you end up looking like a colossal dork. Woke-topians? I see what you did. You mixed utopians and woke and got woke-topians. Shut the fuck up. You think that's cool? You think that's edgy? You think you're like, I'm on the cutting edge here, bro. I'm going to talk about serious issues. The woke-topians, and then he acts like, somehow the woke-topians, which in his mind means the left, like the left has taken over the Democratic Party. Oh, please. Oh, please. It's packed to the brim with corporatists. It's so obvious. Jesus Christ. And then he says, the woke-topians want to disarm you. Honestly, I don't know of a single Democratic politician who's in favor of banning all guns. Not a single one. Not a single one. Everyone I see, there's a range in their beliefs, but, the strongest anybody gets is like ban high-capacity magazines, ban assault weapons, and that's pretty much it. Have universal background checks. Like, we have the Second Amendment, and the modern interpretation of it is you can, even if you wanted to, take somebody's shotgun or their rifle or whatever, and nobody's trying to repeal the Second Amendment, and it would never get through. So it's just not, like, the idea that the left is going to disarm you is ridiculous. In fact, I feel like there's a growing contingent on the left that's pro-Second Amendment. So it's like, what are you talking about? They want to empty the prisons. Wait, but I do want to empty the prisons of the non-violent drug offenders. The same ones that Trump just agreed in principle should be let out when he did the First Step Act, which is the first step towards freeing the non-violent drug offenders. Like, yeah, I want to let the people who shouldn't be in prison out of prison. Do you want to keep them in? Do you want to keep them in? And he says they want to lock you in your home and have MS-13 be your neighbor. Jesus Christ. MS-13 be your neighbor. The dog whistle has turned into a foghorn. I'm going to have the brown people next door. They might be dangerous. They might be MS-13. What percentage of immigrants in this country are MS-13? Seriously. Seriously. What percentage? It has to be so tiny. It has to be a fraction. Are you kidding me? And by the way, the Obama administration deported more people than any administration in history. He deported more than George W. Bush. He was called the deporter-in-chief. Okay? The idea that, like, oh my God, the Democrats are they're gonna go crazy and invite in MS-13. By the way, we've gone over the statistics before on this show, and not only, legal immigrants in this country, but also undocumented immigrants, they have a much lower crime rate than the native citizens. So if we're going to do this fear-mongering over crime rates, you'd have to prioritize immigrants and act like they're the model Americans because they have a lower crime rate. Really, you have to judge people on an individual case-by-case basis. But if we're going to do this stupid groupthink that the right loves to engage in, and some segments of the left like to engage in, then, okay, you should, prioritize them and be even more in favor of immigrants because they're more model American citizens because fewer of them commit crimes. So, it's just I think what annoys me the most, I've been doing this for a long time, man, and I think what gets under my skin the most is the people who, it's almost like they're really giddy about being partisan hacks and being, way too online and way too into, the stupid culture war scandals of the day. And it's really, this is how you want to spend your time and this is how you want to spend your life. caring about some stupid culture war nonsense, straw manning the other side in a partisan debate. I mean, you just look ridiculous. These are unserious people. He doesn't even care. Think this guy cares about the tens of millions of Americans who don't have health insurance? You think he cares that like 80% of the country is living paycheck to paycheck? And that was before COVID. Now I'm sure it's even more. You think he cares about these things? This isn't what he thinks about. He thinks about stuff like this. I'm going to come up with a term like woke-topian. I'm so cool. Like, this is what he cares about. It's just... I'm so tired, y'all. I'm so tired.